Fact that the first change that takes place is in your mind. You have to change your mind before you change the way you live and the way you move. So when we said that the revolution will not be televised, we were saying that that the thing that's going to change people is something that no one will ever be able to capture on film.
So, when I got into this space of information, whether you call it New Age thought, spirituality, reality creation, whatever it may be, I saw the videos about the concept of self-love. And to be honest with you, I thought it was bullshit. I'm so serious. Because the main content creators preaching about it were females. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but this is around the time of me being 19, 20, you know? So I'm very naive. And I'm just thinking it's the over exaggeration of confidence. I'm thinking it's the extra exaggeration of somebody's worth, you know? I'm thinking it's the almost toxic positivity, you know, the super, oh, you look good, you're pretty no matter what anybody says, this and that. You just, just that level of almost lying to yourself, what's it called? The level of delusion, you know? I'm just thinking it's just that that extra toxic stuff, you know? And I'm thinking like, oh, this doesn't apply to me at all. But little did I know that I needed that bad. I really did. I grew up with my family always telling me how handsome I was, how attractive I was. And no matter how much they told me this, I just didn't resonate with it. And that was simply because a lot of the times the girls that I did want, whether it be in middle school or high school and college, I just didn't get them, you know? And it was hard for me because it was like, all right, is my family lying to me? Because I'm just thinking like, oh, it's just my family, being my family, just being good family, hyping me up, giving me compliments. Until I started to hear it from people that wasn't family. When I started working, I would hear this from customers. So now I'm like, okay, customers giving me jokes like, oh, I know you get older girls, this and that, like, your name Clementio, oh yeah, I know the girls love you. Like, I always heard these type of things, especially when I started working. So I'm like, okay, so I know my family's not lying to me, but what's the problem now? Because now I still don't see any correlation. And luckily for me, I blamed it on myself. I always took responsibility, And so I was like, all right, so what's the problem with me? So once I started doing more research, I realized that the reason that I didn't get the experiences like other people said I would have is because I didn't feel that way about myself internally. I was handsome externally, but I wasn't handsome internally, or at least I didn't feel like it. And that reflected into my life. And that made all the sense to me because we see it all the time. People who are not conventionally attractive may still have attractive partners or have had a history with very attractive people. So we know it's definitely an internal thing. It's definitely an energetic thing, Same way how a man could be the perfect catch. He might be tall, good looking, great job, all this kind of stuff. Very safe per se, very safe. But the woman still might not be attracted to him. And it's not because of anything wrong with him. It's just that there's no spark. And I believe that no spark is genuine because not everybody's going to like everybody. But if that man's always experiencing that, then that's a sign of how he feels internally about himself. Because, like I always say in my videos, it's from the Bible, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So that's all what it really was for me, you know? So I started practicing self-love. But like I said before about me thinking it was bullshit, I was falling into that toxic positivity. Oh, I'm handsome, this and that, all this kind of stuff. And didn't correlate with me once again, because not only did I think it was rubbish, but when my family would give me compliments, they were mostly physical compliments. Well, not all the time, but in general, I'm gonna say the general consensus, people give me compliments about how I looked physically, but my beauty never resonated with me physically. It was always me internally. Because if a girl didn't like me, my question was, does she not know I'm a good guy? It was never, does she not know that I'm not handsome? You know what I'm trying to say? I always ask, does she know who I am internally? Because as handsome as I may look to some people, I genuinely think that who I am internally is way more beautiful. You know, people say, "Oh, my soul is pretty," that kind of stuff. I hear girls say that, but I genuinely feel that way. You know, my soul is handsome. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So I was falling into that trap of toxic positivity, but it wasn't resonating because it was all physical. You know, and then also I was thinking that true self-love wouldn't waver. It would be unconditional. But I was looking at it from the wrong way. I was basing true self-love, unconditional self-love, as my emotions wouldn't waver. That was the problem. Emotions, their nature is to waver. Their nature is to change and go up and down. Their energy. I remember one of the first things I learned is that emotion is short for energy and motion. Motion, energy and motion. You see? So I was basing it off the wrong type of background or stance. You know, what my foundation was based off was something that's always going to change. So unconditional love is not for that. What I had to do was I had to make it a mentality to love myself unconditionally. And I'll explain it in the best way that I can. This is an example that I use all the time. It's the idea that if you went to jail for murder, your parents would call you and they'd be super mad, they'll be super emotional, and depending on them, they might curse you out and just question you and just be distraught with you. But they would be the first people that would say free you in front of the news with a big ass sign in front of the whole world. That's unconditional love, meaning that even though my emotions might say otherwise, it's not going to stop me from loving you, because I know that emotions come and go. So if I base my actions off of this, there will be no stability. So self-love, how you appreciate yourself, self-worth, self-value, they're not emotions. They are mindsets. And I'm gonna go into another video in the future about why love is not an emotion to me. But for the time being, understand that you loving yourself is a mentality. You cannot waver at all. You need to have enough discipline and enough footing in the mindset of that no matter what happens to me, I'm going to love myself and I'm going to respect myself. And like I said, when you love yourself, it's not I'm so amazing, this and that. It's literally just like, no, I'm just going to treat myself with respect. I'm going to accept myself. So if you looked at yourself in the mirror, right? Let's say you were super out of shape. Like you're 100 pounds past what you want to be. You would look at yourself and say, okay, I don't like where I'm at right now. But guess what? I'm not going to beat myself up either. Why? Because I got here already. If I beat myself up anymore, it's not going to make it any better. This is a process. So I'm going to be gentle to myself. I'm going to be nice to myself as I go along the path. And I'm going to have enough respect to do better for myself as well. If you are raising your own kid, you would try to give them the best stuff, be patient with them, treat them with respect, and allow them to grow and make mistakes. You got to give yourself the same grace. Because, in turn, the grace that you give yourself, the love that you give yourself, and the appreciation and the respect and value that you give yourself, you unlock a greater capacity for you to do that not only to yourself but others. Because somebody cannot give you anything that they don't have. Just in a layman's terms, how can I give you $1,000 if I don't have $1,000? If my bank account is not full of money, how could I give you money? So the same thing goes. If my heart is not full of love, how can I give it to you? So this also allows for more understanding of people too, because now we can flip it. If you ever meet a person who is very cold, doesn't give a lot of emotion, doesn't give it a lot of love, you can see that, oh, they don't only do this for me, they do this for themselves. That's why I don't get mad at people who are, extremely close-minded, and super extreme in their mindsets, like somebody who's racist. Because the fact that you can think so low about a group of people, I can only imagine how you would feel about yourself if the tides were to turn. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's something that is very enlightening, because you realize that the world and people are not as harsh as you think. It's simply that they don't have enough love in their life. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's more so not that people don't give the love. It's just that they don't give the love to themselves, And when you look at it from that perspective, it's way more feasible, in my opinion. Because it'll be hard to, for somebody to take like the enlightened teacher route, like a Jesus or a Buddha, where they just spread love to everybody. But when you realize, like, oh no, I'm just accepting of myself. So the fact that I can accept myself when I'm low, I know how you feel right now, so I can accept you when you're low. You know what I'm trying to say? So this is not something that I think needs to be ignored. If you're a guy and you've neglected your self-love, stop that. Stop that shit right now. I'm telling you, it's not bullshit. And like I said, it's not the cliche, super, pamper yourself, toxic positivity wave. No, it's just a mindset. It's just saying, I'm going to accept myself, and I'm going to be patient with myself. And I'm not going to take any bullshit from anybody or myself. I'm just going to treat myself with respect. That's all it is. And some people still may find it hard to understand this, and that's because it's a reflection of how low they felt to begin with, And it's also hard to understand because we've been mistaught for most of our life. But I'm telling you, self-love is not a emotion. It's a 24/7 mentality. And it can be hard to get there because obviously when you implement anything new, a new habit, anything new into your life, you're going to have to put in the work to remember it. But it's not as hard as you think. I'm telling you this. it doesn't mean you have to not feel bad about yourself. It literally just means that even when you feel bad at yourself, like even when you feel mad at yourself or you have a bad day, you still give yourself the grace of, it's okay to have a bad day, or it's okay for me to feel this way because why? I'm a human being. You know what I'm trying to say? And if you guys want me to, I can go in more depth about this, but I want you guys to go into your week with this idea, with this mindset that you're just gonna start respecting yourself. You're just gonna start accepting yourself for who you are, and you're gonna start appreciating yourself. I don't care how ugly or handsome or pretty you may be. Everybody deserves love. So even if people tell you otherwise, who gives a fuck about them? I'm serious. Who gives a fuck about them? They just don't understand. When you have your goals and you tell other people your goals, and they like, I don't understand that. Like, I don't see that happening. It's okay. Guess what? You don't have to. I'm the only one that has to see it. Same thing for when you love yourself. Like, people might be like, why you feel so confident? Because I'm giving myself the grace to be confident. I'm giving myself unconditional confidence, meaning that why do I need a reason? You know what I'm trying to say? Why do I need a reason to be confident? Why do I need a reason to feel this way? When we start unpacking all these things, we realize, oh, life is not as conditional as we think. We can make it more unconditional as long as we allow ourselves to be that way. So, give yourself some grace. Love yourself a little bit more. I promise you, it will help you in ways that you never even thought of. Because who you are right now in your life, what you see and what you experience, is a direct reflection of that. So the day that you start having a better self-image internally is the day that you'll see life better externally. It's as simple as that. I hope this makes sense. Peace.
I'd like to make you stay. I'd like to make you stay. I'd like, if you don't know